Peace. Wellabunta walking.
Peace. I'm Noble Pa, the turtle of the South, snapping turtle, alligator snapping turtle, Yamasi Washita of the Panther clan, and also of the Gator clan dealing with the Shata. I'd like to give y'all greetings, Itumukala, and also Halito.
So, first time we got to, obviously we spent time together yesterday, but first meeting physically in the flesh, and let you know it feels good to be around family. You know what I mean?
First we met in the spirit first.
Yeah, true.
In the Egypt.
Spirit. Yes,
yeah.
Sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
And now the physical, we met in the physical, and I feel like I'm at home. You know what I'm saying? It was supposed to rain this weekend.
Well, what I told you, I said, look, after we hung out and everything, I said, look, we got footage to do this here. It was gonna rain. Yeah. Nah, we gonna have a sunny day to do. I'll continue our footage down here in Misnomer, New Orleans, Louisiana.
Indeed.
In Homer and Washita territory and proper.
Indeed. Now, there's a lot of controversy going around amongst people who don't know who they are. A lot of people have been trying to continue this whole denationalization process, even though the white man pretty much, I haven't had a white man tell me I'm not who I am. I can't ever remember, like, physically a white man telling me I'm not who I am. But you know what? Every time I see so-called African Americans and blacks, and even some of these Western tribal Indians, they quick to tell me I'm a slave and I'm this and I'm that and I'm stealing their culture and this and that. So, can we speak to that a little bit?
See, what they don't understand, our people who was on the eastern seaboards and also in the southern borders, we came in contact with the pale face in the 1500s. After our family in the adjoining islands met them first in the 1400s. Yes. We met them in the 1500s. So what basically happened, that when we was fighting the Spanish, they wrote back to the king and the queen. It was like, look, we getting our derriere handed to us, so send us more military troops. So they did. But before they did that, they came in and they was friending us first.
Of course.
And then after
they send a friend request first.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then after that, that's why we don't shake their hand, because while long you shaking their hand, they stab you with the other.
Exactly.
So what happened is that we started dealing with them in the 1500s over here on Turtle Island, the northern part. Some people know it as Turtle Island of the West, which I say. So dealing with that, certain tribes, we was fighting the Spanish. So when the British and them came, that's how treaties and them was done with the British, because the British and them was like, well, the Spanish and them is becoming too powerful. So we need allies. So some of our tribes became allies with the Dutch and the British, which is the same family. So when we started trading with them, like with the beaver skin and the deer skin and alligator hide and all the rest of these things, then by them couldn't tax us, they was like, hold on, we getting the short end of the stick. So we got to do something. Y'all got to compensate us for our loss in the commerce or economics. So this where the Indian slave trade started.
The Black Native American triangular trade. When Europeans arrived in the United States, they found Black Native Americans on the prime farming lands of New England, the Southeast, and the Midwest. The first slaves in the United States were not Africans. The first slaves in the United States were Black Native Americans. Whites forced over 100,000 Native Americans to cultivate tobacco, rice, and indigo. As a result, many Black Native Americans were exterminated or sold into slavery after they had wars with the whites or other Indian tribes. Like people in Africa, the Native Americans sold each other into slavery for guns and cheap goods. The whites concentrated on encouraging the Indians to fight each other so they could buy the losing tribal members as slaves. They also kidnapped Native Americans and made them slaves. Because the Black Native Americans were farmers, they concentrated on enslaving black Native Americans. The original triangular trade did not involve Africa. In the first leg of this trade, New England slavers would go to the West Indies and buy sugar. They would take the sugar back to New England and make it into rum. After making the rum, New England slavers would sail to Virginia and buy Native American slaves and take the slaves and rum to the West Indies and start the trade over again. Black Native Americans who were not sold into slavery had to identify themselves as free-colored, the same as freed African slaves. This was done by the government to make sure that black Native Americans would lose their rights to land stolen by the whites. Since most black Native Americans were sold into slavery or identified as free-colored, they did not mix with whites. This led to the lost history of the black Native Americans. Instead of being able to tell the story of their great nations that they built before the white man came to America, the black Native Americans were instead enslaved, and in slavery they remained.
That was before the Atlantic slave trade. So it was like, okay, that's what y'all want to do. They took some of our family members and shipped them down there to the islands in the West Indies, to the sugar plantation. So now, with all this going on, the Yamasee War lasted from 1715, but their scholarship and academia said that it ended in 1716, and it didn't. Our war went from 1715 to 1926.
Yep, and 1924 is when the Racial Integrity Acts came out. This is when the whole one drop concept was incorporated and created. And so you got a lot of things converging at the same time, right? And this is when, like I tell people, our history wasn't stripped from us hundreds of years ago. 1900 to the 50s and 60s. The final cap on them taking our history from us was Brown versus the Board of Education, where we forced our way into their schools and forced our way into learning their curriculums. Prior to that, we were getting taught by our own family members, elders, ancestors, and elders in our own communities. From I would say the 1920s on up until the 60s, you know what I mean? And that's when we started getting into this whole black and I'm proud and all this stuff, right? But all this information was stripped from us then. This is why it's important that you talk to your elders, because your elders were around when all these things was going on. And even though they might not come out and talk to you about it, if you ask them, they'll have a lot of information to offer you.
And another thing we were speaking about, what most people don't know is that we see the church as it is today. It wasn't like that back then. Because like we were saying, your uncle and them, they built the churches.
Yeah, yep, exactly.
And the churches were the way that we can still practice our culture and our heritage.
Part of the stipulation to have good relations with them was we adopted a religion. Now, we did not adopt it because we wanted to make Jesus Christ our Lord and Savior.
No,
it was political, right? Now, you'll notice that within the laws for churches are very different, right? So this is how we were able to protect our culture. And for hundreds of years, we met in the churches and we didn't discuss Jesus.
No, not at all.
We discussed tribal information and we ran our governments through the church. But what happened eventually is our people just fell off. And eventually we really started to believe all the shit that was going on in the church religiously. But that was a generational thing as, you know, the youth become disinterested and things start to change.
And also dealing with the government, it dealt with female
matriarchal governments, yes indeed.
So even though they adopted we the people, and they had a Congress or a Senate or what's another one that they use?
A caucus.
A caucus.
Which is
a caucus is actually a Native American word.
Yeah, exactly.
A carcass.
Yep.
Which actually dealing with the body.
A body.
Which was dealing with the body of the female who are the clan mothers.
Yep. That's where you get your body politics from. You get it from your clan mothers.
So now you have to ask yourself this question. By the United States adopting we the people, why they didn't have what we said?
Clan mothers, no female rulers.
They didn't have no female in their Congress.
So the white man comes over from his cities where he's been crippled. From a society that is fear-based because it is patriarchal. See, in a matriarchal society, it's not that women rule. Women don't rule in a matriarch. There's female-male balance. Just as there's female-male balance in the universe, there's female-male balance in all of this life. So who are we, the most humble beings on earth, who are the most vulnerable beings on earth? We're even more fragile than a flower. There's flowers that will grow through snow. Bare, naked. We can't survive in snow bare naked. So here we are, learning to live with the female, because the female teaches men how to nurture. To put it simply, it's much more than this, but there's this balance, and we seek to maintain that female-male balance. And the females live longer than men. Duh! You know? The human female is the only being on earth that's been chosen by the Great Mystery to be purified with the moon. With the moon. They're purified naturally. My God, we're men. We don't live as long as we know nothing about purification from within. So we have to create our purification rites. Hence the sauna, or the inipi, the purification lodge. So we have this, and they teach men how to nurture. If you don't know how to nurture, then you're going to be afraid. And in that fear, you know, my ancestor, Chief Luther Standing Bear, who wrote a book, first part of this century, called My People the Sioux. And he wrote another book, The Land of Spotted Tail. No, The Land of the Spotted Eagle. I'm sorry, The Land of the Spotted Eagle. And he said, if you don't know the forest, you will come to fear the forest. And what you fear, you will want to destroy. That's patriarchy.
Matriarchy is a balance between the male and the female. Mm-hmm. But we know that the female, right, is the most sacred, and she has that direct connection with the functioning universe. And when I say that, I mean she still has her periods and she gives birth. Mm-hmm. Men don't do that. And all you men talking about, well, when we ejaculate, we give birth. Well, last time you jerked off into your hand, do you feel like you aborted a child? So I don't want to hear about that. Whenever you ejaculate, you gave birth. Because you, come on now, let's not be disrespectful to this 9-month process that women go through. Mm-hmm. Cut it out. Yeah. Tired of it. Yeah. You're your mother's child. I met some Africans who, once they realized I knew who I was, right? Said, you know you from here, you're not from Africa. Oh yeah, I know, brother. I was initiated into a Haitian voodoo house. Okay. Right? So one of my fellow initiates was a brother from Africa. He was a Mason too. You know, he went through told me the whole conversation. But once we were initiated together, turned to me and said, you know you're not from Africa, right? I said, yeah, brother, I know. And I told him my tribe and this and that. Once he realized I knew who I was, he had a conversation with me, that was unique to any conversation I've had with anybody who claims to be African. He spoke to me in a way that African Americans don't have the vocabulary to speak on. I could ask him about the tribe. How was the tribe governed? And he told me, yeah, the women run it. See what I'm saying? He told me all these things. So we connected. So people think, like, because we say we're not African, we like trying to separate ourselves from people.
No, that's our cousins.
That's our cousins.
That's our cousins. Because that's the Turtle Island of the East, but most people don't know that. You know, I had a brother that was trying to tell me about, Turtle Island is only the western part of the. Like, no, if you know about the stories, they said when the land came up out of the water, when the land came up out of the water, land come out of water. It didn't say what land, it said the land.
Exactly.
Even in the so-called Biblio-Helios text with the creation story, they say, and the water separated from the water, and land came out of the water. You know, in our community, you have the 4 races in the medicine wheel, right? You have the color black on the wheel. You have the color red. You have the color yellow. You have the color white. They all come together for healing. And even when they have the swastika, right? That shows the 4 winds coming together to keep the earth intact, right? And make it a whole and wellness. But now that wheel is not coming together because you have the so-called whites. They want to destroy things. Which you have 2 types of whites, if you didn't know.
Thank you.
You have the yellow, you have the red, and you have the black. Now you had the prophecies that spoke about the black snake coming from the south to help the red snake fight the white snake, because the white snake was getting the best of the red snake. And then you also had another prophecy when it spoke about the black eagle going help and save the red eagle from his cage in the water from the white eagle. So it keep on referring to of the blacks, and even you had the Hopi that was speaking about saying the prophecy that the United States have to deal with the wrath of the blacks when they know who they are.
Peace. This is Babanu. You know, if you look at what's going on around the country, North America, it really brings to mind the Hopi prophecy, which states that there will be 2 major uprisings of black people. The first one will be nonviolent, and we had that during the 60s and 50s up until the 70s, where, you know, they brought in the hippie movement, marijuana, mushrooms and stuff like that to calm the population down. But the Hopi said that the second uprising of black people, which they claim is the one that will bring them freedom and liberation from oppression, will be violent. And since Obama took office, the increase on violence against black people by the authorities has gone up what looks like exponentially. And it's only in the past, I would say year and a half, from the Ferguson riots up until the police officers were, you know, shot, that we're seeing what looks like a burgeoning violent uprising. So it's going to be very, very interesting to see in the months to come, in the next year or 2, if this prophecy is going to unfold to the point where we have what will probably be a small-scale civil war of, you know, black people against the authorities in America.
Right now, they're just operating off of sheer emotion of being black. But when they really find out that they was already here, and you had some that came and married into the family here, it's going to be all over, man.
Let me ask you something. How many of you have married into a family? Everyone, right? Nobody marries their own family, right?
No.
The moment you marry into that family, is that not your family? Would you not die for that family? Would you not die for your mother-in-law? Would you not protect your mother-in-law the way you would protect your child? Right? So even the Africans that married into the native families, that was it. They became family.
They became family.
And they were under our protection. So those of us who do have African ancestors, it doesn't change anything.
Not at all, because we still know who we are from the way of our mother. We still our mother's child.
It only changes things if you subject yourself and acquiesce to the will of the European. And I have a problem with a lot of these Western tribes because in their zeal, right? In their zeal to somehow get back what they believe is theirs and keep people from stealing their culture, they lash out at their elders, right? And the ones who they put on, meaning these $5 Indians, right? They accept them freely.
Oh, real freely.
But their elders, right? The buffalo people, right? Because they tell you about these people following buffalo around. Not all them buffalo they was following around was actual four-legged animals. So let's just keep it real. Eastern tribes, Southeastern tribes, Southern tribes, we wasn't rocking no TPs. I don't hear any of these Pan-Africans speaking on Mound culture. I hear them talk about pyramids. I don't hear them talk about mounds which predate pyramids. I don't hear none of that.
Brother Dr. Umar Shabazz Bey, he broke it down about the mounds. It gave you the definition of a mound. And you actually have some brothers who are in the Afrocentric community that say, how could a pile of dirt could be the blueprint of a pyramid? The dirt don't have nothing. Who said that it was all dirt? Who said that it was all dirt?
It depended on the region that you was in. When you look at the Cahokia Mounds was beautiful, inlaid with grass, look like mountains. You go to other regions, the mounds are made out of rocks,
Stones,
right?
Because we had Temple Mounts.
It's
stones.
It's dealing with it's dealing with whatever resources you have. It's dealing with the actual what the earth provides you with. You know what I mean? So in Kemet, you see they had to go miles to cut that stone, to get that stone, because they didn't have it where they built the pyramids.
Yeah, they had to go to certain quarries and everything.
Yeah. So let's just be real about it. Like all this fanaticism and romanticism that we have with these great cultures, it's beautiful. I love all these cultures, right? But first and foremost, I have to revere mine, and I have to show respect to my people. All right? Because the moment you sitting up here telling me about King Tut and I don't know who your mother is or who your grandmother is, you need to show the same zeal, right? The same desire to find out about your own flesh and blood.
Because that showed that they had their priorities in the wrong place.
Exactly.
Somebody put a post on Facebook and it was talking about what the European girl said. Yeah, the Native Americans, they lived in the Americas for over thousands of years and ain't nothing was evolved from it until we came. And I'm saying to myself, really? I'm like, bitch, we had a whole city.
We taught y'all our ways. You would be surprised how many foods, how many traditions. Come on, sports. Come on, man. Crackers love lacrosse. Where'd they get that from?
Baseball.
Come on, man. Standing on the mound pitching, right? Or the pit tie on the mound pitching.
Yeah.
Right? Pata, primordial mound. Come on, man. Don't play with us, man.
Primordial waters.
So, for all y'all out there who say we trying to be something we not. I'm not trying to be something other than, I'm hip hop. I was raised in the culture of hip hop. That's my culture. Right? My true culture was stripped from me. Right? And as a result, we created a new culture called hip hop, which is similar to gumbo, right?
Yeah.
Taking from all different things and creating something unique within ourselves. Let's not act like we trying to steal somebody's culture, right? We not. All we doing is finding out by studying ourselves who we truly are, and now that we are understanding these things, right, we're starting to express them. All this hate, trust me, it ain't coming from us. All we do is defend ourselves from African Americans. We defend ourselves from natives who, I don't know what their problem is, but remember, I call them natives because natives mean to be born in. I don't call them indigenous or aboriginal. Mm-hmm. So we're disrespected by some natives, by Pan-Africanists, you know what I'm saying? But we not out here hating. We not out here inboxing people to friend them just so we can insult them. We not doing none of these underhanded, devilish tactics. Mm-hmm. All we do is come to people and try to express to them a part of their history they may not know. I'm not trying to make everybody Lenape. Mm-hmm. He's not trying to make everybody Yamasee or Washita. Mm-hmm. No, we want you to be who you are. So now we can come together on equal terms. Meaning if you come to me and say, peace, brother, blase, blah, and then you tell me what nation you from, I can go, okay, this is what these people are about. And I know what conversation to have with you, just like if a European comes up to you and tells you he's Jewish, you're not going to start talking to him about Hitler.
No, not at all.
You're not going to be like, Hitler was a great man, turn up. You're not going to do that. Right? Because you understand their cultural paradigm.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So that's what we don't have as a people. So when you meet me and you say, are you black or you whatever dumbass fucking third grade shit you want to put on me, and I tell you, no, I'm Lenape, and then you go, oh, is that Native American? I say, no, it's Lenape. You go, oh, is that American Indian? And I say, no, it's Lenape. Because I'm telling you who we are. And you can look us up.
Yeah.
But when you tell me you black or you this or you that, I don't got no reference points to go by nothing.
No. And then they get mad and push that on you.
Yeah.
We black people. We black people. And then they want to get into metaphysics.
Yeah, talking about the triple states of blackness. Well, that just brings us back to the womb.
Mm-hmm. But when you dealing with diplomacy, can you use that in diplomacy?
No.
And then one brother say, well, the papers that, you got to have papers to see who you are because that still shows that you're subjugated to the white man's white supremacy. I'm like, no, that doesn't. Because number one, when Hurricane Katrina happened, a lot of people lost a lot of identification. Mm-hmm. So when they had to ask people who they were, when the people said that's who they was, they had to take it off of face value. You know how many homies I had who was in jail that got out, who was out there in Houston? Mm. They used another name to say who they was just to get Red Cross. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Because they say who they were.
Because you proclaim who you are out your mouth, not by a piece of paper.
Yeah, not by a piece of paper.
Just supposed to back up
what you
proclamation.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
That's the only thing that a paper is for.
Yep.
When you carry yourself in a manner as a national.
Absolutely.
Just like people them get upset at Kevin Gates when Kevin Gates had said that on the radio show when he was being interviewed on the stage. He said, look, when I acted as a nigga, I got treated as a nigga. Mm-hmm. Well, how does a nigga act? See, what y'all don't understand is if you know that the police is a gang and the police that's riding around in the hood, they're the foot soldiers. They're not the OGs and the triple OGs. They're just foot soldiers. So are you going to battle with the foot soldiers, or are you going to be like, let me talk to your big homie?
I'm an OG.
I'm an OG.
Exactly.
Let me talk to your big homie, because you ain't got shit over here, homie. Now, you know, the way how things going, we got to get back to the village and the community and find out who you are.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? You know, I mean, something, you might have to give up something to find out who it is. And what I mean by that, you know, I remember when I used to go to the club, and when it was time that I heard the song came back on again, I said, man, it's time for me to fucking go. Mm-hmm. They're playing the same song over. Mm-hmm. So I got tired of going to clubs. I said, okay, well, what there is to do to take that place of that club?
Study yourself.
Study self. Or get back into restudy yourself.
So, exactly. I came home from college in 92. Got my license in Virginia, went to school in Virginia. So I never had a Jersey license. Came back to Jersey, and the whole driving situation in Jersey is completely, like, if you never lived there, you never drove there on a regular basis, it's the worst place in the world to have to drive if you're a quote unquote black man. So I eventually gave my license back because I was tired of harassment. I was tired of being, I was tired of them, wasn't assaulted, but I was getting stopped every week. They was preying on me, right? Mm-hmm. So this forced me to start studying law more, right? So I said, all right, I ain't driving no more. Fuck your license. Gave them the license back. Gave them all their paperwork back. Inconvenienced me now because I'm on buses. I'm doing what I've got to do. That's the inconvenience. But when I gave it back, I gave my ID. I could not get in clubs no more, right? So for like 10, 12 years, I could not get into clubs. I didn't even think about it. Niggas be like, yo, we going out tonight? Don't even think to ask me to go because I can't get in, and I'm not going to be the one to ruin the night because I can't get in the club. But all for 10, 12 years, right? I stopped working. I was doing my own little thing. I was hustling, taking care of my family, you know what I mean? Let me tell you, I learned more information in that 10 to 12 years, right? Of just going hard. 15 years, I would say, going hard. And it's not somebody who didn't know anything. I grew up on the bus going to school, and we passed Lenape Trails, which is an apartment. We driving down Lenape Road, you know what I'm saying? And my family, one of the first things we was taught when we was young, oh, you Lenape. See what I'm saying? So we always knew what we were. We just considered, we were like, okay, we're black Indians. And we left it at that.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
We didn't make no big deal out of it. We black Indians. We black Indians, you black, we go through the same shit. We didn't make no issue out of it, right? But I always knew who I was. We used to go to the burial sites, the burial grounds. When I say go to the burial grounds, I mean spend the whole day there, not just go there and put some
flowers.
No, kids be running around playing, all that. The whole day, the whole family be there, right? So. But when I said, you know what, I'm tired of all this other shit. I'm tired of trying to be this fucking white man. I'm tired of trying to be what this white man want me to be. Yo, that's when everything came full circle.
You notice something? When the pale face and them know who you are, they don't
fuck with you. No, they don't. Not at all.
It's those who say, you just don't want to be black. Well, what is being black?
I don't know.
Because number one,
how do you be a color?
It's like, not only that, but go back and just do research on the dish that you cook, like red beans and rice. That's not an African meal.
Yo, I don't like what is it? What is the chickpeas? I'm not no chickpea fan. I'm not a big fan of chickpea. I don't fuck with hummus. I just learned that hummus is made of chickpeas. Right? Which is here we have corn, right? Asia, they got rice. Africa, chickpea is the main source. Same way we use corn. I was like, I don't like chickpeas. I'm not into that shit.
You never had that?
I've never had that shit. I go to these little events and everybody trying to give me this African food. I'm like, this shit is nasty. I'm not built for that.
And you're right, because look, red beans with what? Cornbread. Yo,
but you get some corn.
Tell me that you never had no cornbread.
Red Pill, you know about that corn, nigga. You know about that corn. Yeah, you got something on your mouth, homie.
Yeah, mustard greens. Mustard greens. Is mustard green an African dish? You know, Liberia was actually a United States colony, right? The Empress grandfather or twin brother's son was actually an ambassador over there.
Wow.
Around the same time that John Hanson was the senator over there.
Okay.
In the 1800s.
See?
You had native people who was considered as black,
Yeah, over there.
going over there and building the government. So you had native people over there thinking they Africans when they actually natives. Ask your elders, did they ever hear about somebody coming from Africa being a slave? Because they may have been a slave, but that don't mean it was an African slave.
Yep, slave don't mean African.
Because you had Native Americans that were slaves too.
And we're gonna go to, what is it? The slave
The unknown tomb with a slave.
We headed there right now.
Yeah, we headed there. Then we go head to the Mounds. You heard me?
And there's an important line on the plaque, right? Talks about Native American slaves.
Yeah. It was an all African.
We're gonna get out here. We're about to get back out in these streets.
We about to go on the mound. You heard me?
Going on the mounds. We're gonna bring this information back to those who really care about it and who want to be exposed to it. You know what I mean? We putting the work in. We getting.
Don't take the shit personal. Take it as a learning experience.
Exactly. Honor your ancestors, man. Well, Gunther walking.
Yoko Key.
Real talk.